Hello, welcome to Enots Engineering. I'm Alan. This week I've had a major problem with my camera. The screw thread which holds the camera to the tripod has stripped and I can't hold the camera on my tripod. Obviously, when in the workshop, the camera is held to get the best view of the machining, which needs to be clamped to a tripod or my overhead arm. But I had to use a small camera to take some of the video shots, and that's why some of the video footage in this video is not up to my usual standard. I apologise for that, but I thought you'd like to see how I overcome the problem without buying a new camera. So let's go into the workshop and see how I do it. Well, today I'm trying to repair the camera that I use for my videos. This camera's made over 100 videos. And the problem I've got with it now is the thread in the bottom is stripped here, so I can't hold it on the tripod. There's the plastic that came out of it. I thought this was threaded in aluminium, but it's plastic. I normally have this attached into the bottom, and then on this one I put the adapter for the tripod so I don't unscrew this too many times. What I'm going to try and do is tap this out, make a brass bush to go in there and see if I can get away with that. And what I've done is I've used an 8mm tap, 8mm by 1.25, which has just re-tapped the thread. It was a 1/4 BSW, and this is the bottoming tap. Take that out. So there's not many threads on there, there's probably 3. But that's the closest I can get with this camera because it's got no macro on this close up on video. It will work on still pictures, but it's not really made. It's only a very small camera you put in your pocket. So I'm using it as an emergency one. I've tapped this out 8mm by 1.25 and it's gone down about 3 threads. So now what I need to do is make a brass bush that's got an 8mm thread on the outside and a 1/4 BSW thread on the inside, and I think I'll put a little head on it so that it can go over the top, so it will locate on the top as well. Before I start, I'd just like to say I'm restricted on the position I can get the camera in. At the moment the camera's being held in a vise on a shelf over the lathe. I haven't got the normal tripods and other gadgets that I use to hold the camera because of the problem with the screw thread. So what I'm going to do is turn this piece of brass down to give me a 10mm diameter, then 8mm, put thread on the outside, 8mm, and then part it off. 10.8. That'll do. So now I need to turn it down to 8mm. I think that's full depth now. Camera mount thread. That's okay. So next job is to put an 8mm thread on the outside of that. So I've swiveled my compound slide over 10 degrees. I've put a 10-degree chamfer on there. I don't want to go too deep with the chamfer because it reduces the number of effective threads. I've put an 8mm die in the die holder, and I'm just putting the 8mm thread up to the face. And that's just touched the face of the brass part, so I'll back that out. The next thing to do is turn the die round in the holder. Because the die has a lead on it, this end's bigger than the finished thread. So by turning the die round and using the back of the die, I should be able to cut a bit more thread up to this corner, up to the face. I don't know whether you can see that on that die. That's the front where the details are, but the back is a smaller diameter than the front, so that'll put a bit more thread on the end. Lead it on. There we go. It's cutting now where before it was up against the face. start again. Well, that's how it looks in the chuck. I've just about got away with it so far. An 8mm thread on the outside and a 1/4 base W on the inside, but because it broke off I've had to go right back up to the chuck jaws. Now I've got to pull this out of the chuck jaws to part this off. It's broke off just on the inside there because of the thread, so what I need to do now is just face that off level and put a slot across there so I can screw that in the camera with the screwdriver, and that's my new thread. Holding the part on a nut from the 3-jaw chuck, an 8mm nut. Just going to put a little chamfer on the corner. I'm using a parting off tool. That should be finished. So there's the finished item fitted on the camera. And normally I have this aluminium block on there with this screw through. And then that block holds the quick release, which the other camera is using at the moment. So that'll lock up on there. Pick the camera up by that. At least it's not a scrap camera. I'm going to send it away to get it repaired, because I always thought that the screwing part there was aluminium on a die-cast frame, but no, it's plastic. My previous camera, it was aluminium. So that's just black plastic. So what I've done is, it was a 1/4 inch thread, 1/4 inch BSW, so I've made an 8mm outside thread and I put the 1/4 inch BSW back in, and that slot is just made with a hacksaw blade, so if I need to take that out I can put a hacksaw blade across there and unscrew it. I was going to glue it in or use some thread lock, but it seems to be holding quite well. I'll see what happens. If I strip the inside I'll have to make another one. If I strip the outside then the camera will be no good, because I can't drill and tap another thread. That's the finished thing. That's the bracket I'll screw on, and this side is used for the adapters that fit on the various tripods, so that's normally left on the camera. At least I've saved it for another few videos. Saved me buying a new camera. Thanks for watching. I hope you found that interesting and it was useful to you, and we'll see you next time on Enots Engineering.